The main character of the story is a young man named Rain. He was kicked out of his hero party because he only possessed the ability to control animals. Beast tamers form contracts with different animal species from the heart and command their powers. Beast tamers are not well suited for combat, but as a member of the hero party, Rain always gave his all in his supporting role and wanted to build trust with his team members. But suddenly, he was kicked out of the team because they felt he was useless. Rain thought they were just joking, but the disdainful looks of Arios, Agus, Lynn, and Mina proved that it was no joke. Their insulting words, calling him a burden, left Rain in shock. Just because Rain couldn't deal damage to enemies and cause trouble for his teammates, Rain never thought that in everyone's eyes he was just a useless person. His hands began to tremble, his face darkened, and he took off his cloak, walking away amidst the mocking laughter of his teammates. Rain sat down somewhere, feeling depressed, and began to think about everything that had happened in his life. During missions, he was always judged by others because he was just a beast tamer who couldn't do anything else. While Rain was at a loss for what to do next, a group of children surrounded him and started asking about his work as a hero. Rain began to stutter, unable to come up with an answer, but the children were very excited to see his work, so he stood up, formed a contract with an eagle, and showed them. After that, Rain heard that the hero group had a much worse reputation here compared to the common people, but the children liked Rain more because he always played with them, and they wanted to grow up to be adventurers and earn lots of money. Hearing about adventurers, an idea sparked in Rain's mind. Adventurers are people who accept commissions and receive money in return. Immediately, Rain ran towards the Adventurers Guild. There, he met a receptionist named Natalie. She was about to explain the Adventurers test when Rain asked if she could explain about adventurers in detail. Because Arios' team had always looked down on adventurers, they didn't interact with them much. Seeing Rain's seriousness, Natalie was quite surprised and explained that many candidates come for this basic test. Then Natalie explained everything to Rain in detail. When he looked ready, she discussed the Adventurers test. But when she found out that Rain was a beast tamer, Natalie became quite worried and feared that he wouldn't be able to go alone. Her words began to hurt Rain's heart again, just like his teammates had done before. But Rain still kept his spirits high and attempted the first test, which was to defeat 10 goblins and collect 20 bundles of herbs. Because of his beast tamer skills, he quickly found all 10 goblins and completed the F-rank mission. Suddenly, he heard a scream from a distance. Rain ran there and saw that a girl was cornered by an assassin tiger, but her small blade was only leaving scratch-like marks on the tiger. When the tiger turned its attention to him, Rain told the girl to run away quickly. At this moment, he had no tamed animals and no weapons. While he was thinking, a girl appeared from behind the tiger. She jumped several meters high and delivered a powerful blow to the back of the assassin tiger, severely injuring it. After defeating the enemy in a single strike, she turned shyly and sat on the tiger's back. This pink-haired girl, who had an aura of nobility around her, was named Kanade. Seeing her, Rain realized she was from the Spirit Cat clan. This was one of the most powerful clans, and the Spirit Cat clan was the rarest. Suddenly, the girl began to show signs of exhaustion and fell to the ground. Rain quickly ran to catch her, worrying that she might be injured. But surprisingly, when he leaned close to her ear, he heard that she was just hungry, so Rain shared his food with her. He sat watching, unable to believe she was real, because the Spirit Cat clan, even among the strongest clans, was said to be on the verge of extinction. Kanade said she hadn't eaten anything for days. After filling her stomach with food, she introduced herself. Rain also introduced himself, but Kanade suddenly corrected him, reminding him to just call her by her name and not to use Miss or anything else. Rain was quite curious as to why she had come to this forest. Kanade said she had grown bored of the deeply peaceful life in the mountains, so she set out on an adventure and ended up meeting Rain as if by fate. Before this, she had already asked Rain to tell her about his life. Rain didn't understand why he always felt uncomfortable telling his story, but he was able to tell Kanade everything. Hearing the story of him being kicked out of his team, Kanade became very angry on Rain's behalf. Rain was very grateful that Kanade understood him. Although Kanade was furious with the people who had kicked him out, since Rain didn't care, she let it go as well. Feeling a bit awkward, Rain suddenly stroked her head and thanked her, which she liked very much. Rain didn't expect to do that as a reflex, but when she didn't mind, he left it at that. Suddenly, Kanade returned to reality and clarified something. Rain is not useless at all. Rather, he is very strong, and his beast-taming abilities are fantastic. It seems that he commanded her, because at first sight, she felt a
tingling sensation like electricity. It could be that if he could command her, he could command the entire Spirit Cat clan as well, because very few people in the world can command them. But while thinking, Rain realized that it wasn't just about commanding the strongest clan, but that he wanted to get closer to Kanade. After that, Rain bit his finger to draw a little blood to prepare for forming a contract with Kanade. During the contract formation, the contract would only be completed if Kanade herself spoke her name, otherwise it wouldn't work. Suddenly, Kanade happily stated her name, as if she agreed to form a contract with Rain, which made Rain very happy. Upon completing the contract, a red circular pattern appeared on his hand. The two shook hands as a welcoming gesture. Who would think that a beast tamer like Rain, who just lost his team members and his goal, could command one of the strongest clans, and such a cute one at that? But before returning to Fire City, they had to complete the adventurous mission. Suddenly, when Rain formed a temporary contract with a rabbit, Kanade started to feel jealous, but still she got lost in those fluffy cotton rabbits. When Rain again formed temporary contracts with several rabbits and called them to help, Kanade felt even more jealous, as if he was getting things done too quickly. Only Rain was so innocent that he didn't understand anything, which made Kanade even more annoyed. In a very short time, Rain completed the assigned mission and passed the test. Therefore, Natalie issued him an F-rank adventurer card. Along with it, she gave him the reward for this time, which was 50 copper coins. She advised that if he got a promotion, he would get more, and since Rain completed the test in such a short time, it was certain that he would get a promotion soon. Taking the money, Rain went to Kanade and announced that from now on, he would start accepting commissions. Kanade happily agreed and gave her his full support.
Suddenly, a rowdy man approached them. He noticed that Kanade was from the rare Spirit Cat clan and became very interested. Kanade replied in a cold tone, which agitated him even more, and he started inviting her for a drink. Then he also insulted Rain in front of Kanade, which made Kanade's eyebrows rise when he mentioned the handsome boy she had just met. She didn't hesitate, puffed up her cat fur, scolded him, and announced to everyone that Rain was her master who commanded her. He was shocked and started laughing out loud, wondering how anyone could command the strongest clan like the Spirit Cat. Hearing this, Rain was quite surprised because no one in his family had ever contracted with the strongest clan. Moreover, Kanade was very happy that Rain had stepped up to protect her first, which made the young man blush and unable to say anything. After that, they set out on an assigned mission. Kanade thought that adventurers had to wield large swords or rescue captive princesses, but this was just harvesting herbs. Rain explained that because he was only an F-rank adventurer, the lowest level, he only received easy commissions. Hearing this, Kanade also got excited and tried to help him. Suddenly, it was discovered that the rabbits Rain had made a temporary contract with had already completed his work, which surprised Kanade. She accused them of cheating and felt disappointed that even though she was Rain's familiar, she couldn't do anything for him. Suddenly, at that moment, a sound of a commotion came from a distance, so they both ran towards it. Here, a group of large and dangerous-looking men had surrounded an old man and were threatening him. Kanade knew from her adventure time that they were the Black Fang bandit group, numbering over 100. They are extremely cruel and amoral, always doing evil deeds. They are also very dangerous opponents. Therefore, she advised Rain if they should go call for help. But Rain thought there was no time left, so they had to do something now. Seeing such courage from Rain, Kanade felt very proud. She told him to protect the old man while she handled the rest. As they spoke, both moved like the wind and took out everyone. Suddenly, Kanade was thinking about Rain and was quite worried that when Rain contracted with the strongest clan like the Spirit Cat, would the power he received cause him harm? As a familiar, should she stand in front and fight? No, what would be better? But Rain always stood in front and protected her. Every time she saw his fighting stance, she couldn't look away, and her heartbeat quickened. After dealing with the bandits, Rain was surprised to see Kanade's face as red as a tomato, causing her to quickly change the subject while explaining something. The old man also came to thank both of them. Rain found it strange why an old man, like a merchant, had no guards, but the old man explained that he had hired one, but he ran away at the first sign of trouble. Although they saved him, the old man reminded Rain that the Black Fangs would return to avenge their comrades, so they should be careful. He thought Rain would run away in fear, but instead he said he would go to their base and catch them all, because he knew these gang members were violent and vengeful. If they weren't caught, the city merchants would fall victim. Rain had also found their hiding spot with the help of a small squirrel. Meanwhile, Kanade was feeling disappointed in herself. Despite being his familiar, she couldn't do anything. After saying this, she became optimistic again and asked about Rain's plan. His plan was to use Count Bees by forming a temporary contract because they have a parallel paralyzing venom that would help stop the guards. Kanade was surprised because bees are insects, so how could Rain command them? Regarding this, Rain told Kanade that at his home he had also learned insect taming, which is a branch of beast taming where insects are tamed. Hearing this, Kanade began to praise Rain's talent profusely. Whenever he is mentioned, there are always surprising things. After that, Rain told Kanade to go back to the city and help call for reinforcements, which surprised her again because until now she hadn't found any task where she could support Rain. But still, she happily agreed and returns to call reinforcements from the Night Squadron. They are state-run people who protect cities or towns everywhere. As soon as Kanade left, the Count bees fully gathered and Rain started controlling them using a temporary contract. Meanwhile, Lin and Mina's team were running away to escape the bandits because they had accepted a commission to earn a little money before conquering the Lost Forest. If they had known it would be this complicated, they would have gone to meet Arios in Agas, which would have been better. Angrily, Lin blamed the beast tamer they were with, who had run away before them. He had also told them that he was just a beast tamer and therefore not suited for combat. Talking about this, Lin mentioned Rain and said that although he was useless, he still stood forward in battles and could tame several animals at once. That beast tamer was very surprised to hear about Rain. Usually, beast tamers like them couldn't even tame 2, let alone 10, because commanding several at once burns their nerves from the burden. Still, Lin was half doubting because Rain could command dozens of animals with an indifferent face. Ultimately, Lin decided that she would pin all the blame on this failed mission on Rain so that the hero team's reputation would be saved. She threatened that beast tamer, causing him to run away in fear. Although she wasn't completely sure, Mina felt that the man's words sounded like the old Rain, but Lin didn't want Rain to have better abilities. Meanwhile, the bandits were paralyzed by the Count bees, unable to even move, and Kanade had arrived in time bringing people for help. But they were just adventurers like Rain, not the Night Squadron. They were very surprised that Rain had the courage to take on the entire Black Fang. Everything was going smoothly when suddenly a loud roar was heard from behind the door. It was the Demon Lizard King, which the bandits had previously tamed, and it was equivalent to a C rank. At this time, the Lizard King went berserk and started throwing everyone around with his tail. Rain jumped and punched it from above. Then Kanade struck its jaw. Rain told everyone to get out while he and Kanade continued to fight. At such a time, he remembered when he was still with Ariel's team. They must have thought he couldn't do anything, but now he is different, and he also has Kanade as a partner. The people outside were worried and praying for both of them. Fortunately, after that, both of them stood safely in front of everyone. In this situation, it seemed that Rain had gained the recognition after being kicked out of the hero team, where he was called incapable of doing anything useful. And above all, just being with Kanade made him feel like he could do anything. Truly, when a girl comes into a life, things change.